Hi folks, welcome to another episode of Random Ranting Whilst Retro Gaming. I am the Middle Management Gamer. Today we're looking at Super Mario Bros. 3. So the other day I did a little survey on Facebook and was asking people what the first video game they remember playing was. And for me, it was actually Donkey Kong on a Texas Instrument computer, so that was a long time ago. But a couple of people said it was Super Mario Bros. 3, this game right here. Interesting game. So you see the curtain rises. Super Mario Bros. 3 is different than the other Super Mario Bros. Because it's actually a stage play. And that's a fan theory that a lot of people have made very apparent over the years. You can see there's a backdrop and there's shadows. So there's a stage camera showing on these. And this is the first one of the Mario Brothers games where Mario really wears suits. He has the Tanuki suit, the raccoon suit, the frog suit. So he's dressing up, he's playing on stage. So I got to thinking about how, life is a play and we all play different roles and how those different roles in your life kind of came about and how you became who you are and what influences you to become who you are. Is it a nature versus nurture thing where you genetically predisposed to be a middle management gamer or what? So we're going to do a little playing here and I'll go over some of my thoughts. So Super Mario 3. Interesting game. It has an overworld, which is different from 1 and 2, where you just kind of go stage to stage. So you actually have a little bit of choice of where you're going to go. But you can see it's like set pieces. Like they're bolted to the back of the screen. Yeah. This is also the first Mario where Mario can fly. And you have to build up his power bar to do that. So this game has a lot of influences on where Mario would go later on. Also, this game, I think, was the first one to have the P switches that allowed you to change blocks into coins. So, pretty interesting. All right, so I was saying influences. What made you who you are? Sometimes people ask me, how did you end up in restaurants? And that question is kind of disrespectful is not the right word, but I didn't end up in restaurants. I chose to be in restaurants. I was going to school for engineering and I hated it. I was miserable. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I've contemplated going back to school. My brother, a little bit older than me, went back to school recently and it's doing just fine. Seems really happy with it. Kudos to him. Contemplating going back to school myself. But again, what do I do? I want to stay in restaurants. Like I said, it wasn't something that I fell into. It's something I chose. I decided to do restaurant work. I was going there, while I was in school as something to do for extra money while I was in college. But then as I did it longer and longer, I started deciding that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with people. I enjoyed the thrill and the different things you can do. But before I was, a manager, I came up through the ranks. I started as a dishwasher and worked my way up to management. But before I was in restaurants, before I was the restaurant middle management gamer, I was just the gamer. Video games is kind of like one of the first things I remember being into. And like I said, that's why I did the survey and we're asking people like what the first games they remember playing, because I wanted to know how people got into video games. And honestly, it wasn't like just gamers that answered my question. It was all sorts of people, people that I don't really think of as gamers. Never really talked video games with them, growing up and whatnot. And I guess when it comes to my family, people would probably think that, I got my love of video games from my father. And I do remember my dad playing video games when I was a kid. Programming on the computer, and there's several games that I know he loved and enjoyed playing. I remember Dragon Warrior on the original Nintendo, which I've never done a video on, but Dragon Warrior was one of the first RPGs I remember playing. And my dad actually beat Dragon Warrior before I did, and that's always been kind of memorable for me. I think that was the last video game that I remember my dad was just better at than me, and I always think back to that. So yeah, my dad was a gamer. He was a pinball wizard when he was a kid, and Dragon Warrior, and then Privateer on the computer. Loved Privateer. And Diablo. He always played as the rogue archer in Diablo, and loved that. And yeah, my dad's a bit of a gamer, but really, I didn't get my love of gaming from my father. I think I got it from my mom. And people think gamer nowadays, they just think video games, but I don't really categorize it like that. I think about all the different games that I played growing up. We played a lot of board games. My mom taught me how to play chess. I learned cards from one of the family friends and neighbors who's taught me to play poker, but I always remember playing rummy and gin rummy with my mom. And I think that I got a lot of my winner spirit from her. There's a couple of people that I don't ever want to go up against in a game of spades, and that's probably my mom and my aunt, because that's a horrendous duo right there. They'll tear you up. I mean, if you're a spades fan, you know how competitive spades people are when they're playing it. So I don't know. A lot of times I think about, my influences and just all the different games. I remember one of the first games I remember playing was this weird phonics board game. And I don't know where we got it from, but I just remember it being so much fun. And, I learned from it, like reading and like recognizing words and whatnot. And my mom introduced that to me, and just gaming in general. And really, I was just thinking about all the, like, who I am and where that came from, and like why I'm a gamer and why I play games the way I do and why I enjoy them. And that was all my mom. And this video was really for her, because I am who I am because of my parents, but I am the middle management gamer because my mom introduced that competitive spirit, that love of gaming and playing games, and the educational benefits to it, and just the feeling that you get when you win, or even when you lose, and that you played the game well. So I just want to tell her I love her and wish her a happy Mother's Day. And thanks for joining me today while we played Super Mario 3, and just listen to me rant a little bit about life choices and why I am where I am today. And just know that there's people out there who like the same things you do, and you never know who's going to influence you, but always remember who you are and where you came from. And I just want my mom to know that I love her, and happy Mother's Day. Thanks.